Evolution is...
Let me explain this. Whenever anyone says eternal punishment or eternal anything, my instant response is this is a manipulation of the ability of people to assess risks. As in
this is true.
There are usually two factors. There's risk and hazard. Risk is the chances of something going wrong. Hazard's what you have to deal with if it does go wrong. You know, lighting barbecue, relatively high risk of burning yourself. So it's relatively high risk, small hazard. Right? Walking out into the wilderness on your own, small chance of something going wrong, but you might die if it does. Right? Now, what you've essentially done with this is you say, well, we'll ignore the risk for the moment, but we'll put the hazard to infinity. So no matter what you do, you should always do this, just to be safe.
Isn't there a what if in your mind? What if God is real? What if this creation is
let me give you another what if. You cycle a lot, yes?
Yeah, I ride the bike.
Well, let me give you a what if. What if there's a light-speed rhino running about the roads, right? And because of relativity being what it is, if you get hit by that rhino, you'll be stuck in that moment of torment for eternity. Because that's the way relativity works, right? So there is an infinite hazard of infinite pain. What if?
The chances of that happening are totally unreasonable. The chances of...
But it's a what if.
It's a what if. But what I'm saying is that this creation screams to you. There's a creator. The fingerprint of God is on everything. You've got the conscience to affirm the truth of each commandment that God's given. You've got to affirm that what God says is right and wrong. Murder is wrong. All these things that God lists as right and wrong.
Is war wrong?
Good question. Let me just back up a little.
Sure.
If some guy breaks into my house, he's got a knife and he's going to rape my wife, and I've got a gun, I'll start shooting him at his foot and I'll move up. I'll protect my wife. Move up slowly, okay? If someone's going to break into my country and attack my children, then I've got to defend them. Now, I've never had to go to war. I've been very fortunate, and it is a dilemma for me. Could I pull the trigger to protect my family? Is this a righteous war or not? But wouldn't you protect a wife or your mother from some guy who's going to rape her?
I see it in broader perspectives than that. In that,
but wouldn't you protect your mother?
It's just like the Milgram thing showed that you would respond to authority figures. Within that, there is an us and them mentality, right? And from this, you are both my greatest ally and my worst enemy. Right? There is no one more, no one who is of more utility to me than another human, and there is no one who is potentially my worst enemy than another human. Now, what actually distinguishes the behaviour of when people act badly and well, and for the large part, the big difference is resources. People who are well-fed don't fight each other. People who are people who are starving, they'll fight for resources. They'll fight for their children.
That's a natural instinct.
Yeah, right. So, but again, what actually provides us the time of plenty? And again, it comes back to knowledge, the growth of knowledge. This is why, I think it's very bad when I see you sowing disinformation about evolution, about the age of the universe, about
but isn't that my right as an American citizen?
Yeah.
To have free speech and to say what I believe?
Yes, but I mean, it's like you were saying, Ray, the ability to distinguish right from wrong is essentially the ability to distinguish what is social and antisocial. I mean, if I can defecate in the street, even if it's antisocial, even if it's not illegal. And you can take a look at a broader scope of these things. Is it moral to try? Most people would say that's not a problem, even though it kills 40,000 people a year. It's an acceptable compromise, right? But is it okay to drink and drive? Do you have the right as an American to drink what you want and drive where you want? No, because now it's impinging on other people. Yeah? And in the same way, I see what you do by putting out this information as retarding the potential of mankind. Even if it's not illegal, it's antisocial. It's limiting the potential of our future.
So I'm just saying man doesn't have a common ancestor in primates. I don't believe that. I believe man is made in God's image. What is wrong with that?
What's wrong with that is that it's actually wrong.
You can't say it's wrong.
Yeah,
You don't have all knowledge.
Yeah.
You can say you believe it's wrong with your limited information. You believe in knowledge.
Yes.
But your knowledge still leaves you in death. I want a knowledge that'll tell me how I can find
Knowledge
mortality. You're going to die.
The knowledge of the work of Newton lives in my mind.
He was a deist. He believed in God's existence. He esteemed the scriptures that you deny.
Yeah.
Newton.
But it's interesting.
Same with Galileo.
But it's interesting that that never made it into any of his theories.
Well,
what Newton's contribution was his naturalistic understanding of gravity, of motion, and of calculus. His religion was, even if it was a motivating factor, it was irrelevant to his contribution to the knowledge of mankind.
Of course, but his ability to contribute came from his God-given gift. And he would have said that up front. You deny that, but I'm sure it was true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is, if you like, his motivation.
Well, motivation's a good thing, especially if God's involved, because He's the Creator. He's the beginning and end of all things.
Shall we do a little bit on the Bible? How much longer we got?
Yeah, it's 3 minutes to 1 now.
Whoa.
10 minutes on the Bible?
You want to give it a try?
Yeah.
I have the time, but you need to kind of condense it.
Okay.
Wind this up.
Let's start with the commandments. You're a firm believer in the commandments, yeah?
Yes, sir.
So this is Exodus 20. I that I go to what you have to Jesus. You shall not make self-carved images, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. So with that reckoning, the word taking pictures with Hubble be idolatry?
No.
Why not?
It's creating a graven image.
Yes.
Read the whole verse. You should not bow down to them. It's
You
given
shall
in
not bow
homage.
down to them.
So if you bow down to something, whether it's...
For I, the Lord God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. So if your father was actually a godless man, then you would be guilty for his sins.
No, God doesn't visit. God doesn't punish for sins. He visits the iniquity. You can see this with someone whose father's an alcoholic, they become an alcoholic. Father's abusive, they become abusive. The iniquity goes from father to son.
I think you'll find that alcoholism has a genetic component.
Yeah, well, genetic, whatever.
But it's interesting, later on in the Gospels, I mean, just in all of the Gospels, Jesus is challenged here, which commandments should you obey? Now, if you ask anyone on the streets, what commandments shall you obey, they can only usually name 4, which are don't steal, don't kill, adultery sometimes, and
Blasphemy.
No, blasphemy almost never. Don't steal. They're all the social things. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't kill. No adultery. Those are the 4 that people normally get, and those are basically the ones that Jesus gets. Apart from he also gets treat your neighbour as yourself, which isn't actually a commandment. And it's also interesting that 10 commandments isn't actually 10. It's not stated as there are 10 commandments.
Yeah, twice in Scripture it says that these are the 10 commandments.
No, it says later, but
yes.
it doesn't actually say these are the 10 commandments. I mean, when God's given these to Moses, he just
it's not 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Right.
But he then continues, and you will know these well, into things like selling daughters. He who strikes his father or mother shall surely be put to death. He who curses his mother or father shall be put to death. And so on, laws about if you strike the eye of your servant such that it perish, you are letting go for the sake of the eye.
It's very important to understand that God's law is broken up into 613 precepts, and they're normally in 3 categories: civil law, moral law, and ceremonial law. And often people who don't understand the Scriptures get the ceremonial law messed up with the civil law. Civil law is God's decrees that He gives to Israel to carry out punishment in their civil courts. The ceremonial law is for what you should wear in the tabernacle. Like, don't mix wool with cotton because it'll make you sweat.
Bingo. Yeah. So, but this the key point there is this is a covenant in the Bible. This is a covenant between God and the Israelites. Yeah.
Yes.
No one else.
The law was given to stop every man to leave the whole world.
So would it have been moral to kill someone before the 10 Commandments, before this covenant?
No. It's wrong.